For the next 24 hours, I'm going to be overnight fishing this massive 7.5 acre lake, home to over 350 20-pound plus carp and the occasional catfish. In this episode I'm going to be targeting the carp in order to try and break a new personal best, which shouldn't be too hard considering my current one's 14 pounds. And if all the carp in this lake are over 20 pounds, there's a high chance I'll break it here one day. The peg I'd pitched myself up on was the last peg on the lake. I was well away from any other peg, meaning if there was any carp over there, I had a high chance of catching it, seeing as no other anglers were near me. But without further ado, let's dive into this adventure of mine. For the next 24 hours, I'm going to be overnight fishing and day fishing this massive lake in front of me. The lake holds over 350 carp, all over 20 pounds, so I'm guaranteed to catch a monster carp today or tomorrow. And there's also massive Wells catfish in here, the lake best being 70 pounds, so if I'm lucky I could get that. Needless to say, there's tons and tons of fish, massive fish, in this lake. And I'm here for the next 24 hours. Fingers crossed I can get myself one. I've spent the last 30 minutes setting up the bivvy and all my gear behind me. All that's left to do now is get the rod pod and the rods out. This is the view of the lake from my peg. If you're asking me, it looks absolutely incredible. There's some amazing casting locations right ahead of me. Obviously, directly in front of me, there's all these lily pads here. A little bit over there, there's overhanging trees, more lily pads, and then there's a little valley down there. There's also a ton of snags in the water. By that, I mean branches and stuff, what the carp will like to hide around. It's currently around 7 PM, 7:30 maybe. I haven't checked the time in a little bit, but I think it's about time I get this rod pod set up, get my rods out. And there we go, the rod pod is now completely set up. And now finally I can get to rigging up and putting out all of my rods. I've bought 3 rods with me. This one I haven't got anything on yet, I've just bought that just in case I need a 3rd rod. And then the 2 rods I'm going to be using is the Daiwa Black Widow rod and then the Corum Limitless rod. I rigged them both up earlier in advance. On this one I just put the standard hair rig, and then on this one I put a Ronnie rig on, or a spinner rig. I've got to sort my bait out, pop some PVA bags on these things, and then cast them out into 2 really good locations, and fingers crossed we'll get a lovely carp on them. I have bought tons of boilies with me, so I'm sorted for the night. I'll show you them all right now. I bought 4 bags. I've got one of the sticky, the krill. These are probably my favourite. These ones I've never used before, and same with these 2. They're just a new brand and I saw them in the shop and they look quite cool, so I decided to give them a test out. So I've got all them boilies to use. And I've also got a 5-litre tub of particle bait. And in there is hemp, sweet corn and maples. It says it right there on the front. Whilst I'm on the topic of baits and rods, I thought I'd show you guys this. I know you've been telling me for a while, but I've finally re-spooled all my line. So I've got a fresh load of line on the Shimano reel, and then I've got a fresh ton of it on my other reels. This is what the hair rig's looking like. It's the first rig I've ever tied by myself, to be honest. I've never really used hair rigs, but today I'm just going to try and use them for the first time. So yeah, I think I've done an alright job of that. And on the hair, I'm just going to pop on one of the yellow boilies, and then I think I'm going to split one of the other ones in half and put the other half on as a sort of stopper. So I'll just thread this boilie onto the hair real quick, get that on there, and there we go, there's one boilie on. There we go then, I've got the boilies on the hair rig. Now I'm just going to knock up a PVA bag for this thing, hook it on and get it casted out. Now here is the box of particle. All I've got to do is load that into here. There's the bag full, I've just got to attach it to the rig now. There we are then, not the greatest first attempt at a PVA bag, but it'll do and I'll get it casted out now. I've now got the spinner rig set up. Not looking too bad if you've asked me. I've just put a pop-up on there with some bait floss. I've got to burn the bait floss off now, but there's a slight issue. I forgot my lighter. Luckily, I've got a little packet of matches here. And then I've got my cooking stove just ahead of me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to light the cooking stove with the match, and then I'll burn the bait floss off with that, and I'll cook my dinner at the same time. There we go. I've got the cooker on now, and I have just melted off the bait floss. As you can see, there's no evidence of it there. That's my Ronnie rig ready to get out. I've just got to whack a PVA bag on that now. Again, I've got the PVA bag loaded here. I'm just going to pat it on the bottom and twist the top together, and then I will get my tape and tape the end up. That's the PVA bag all tied up now. I'm just going to hook this onto the hook of the Ronnie rig real quick. That's that all done now, so let's get this rig casted out real quick. And just like that, both the rods are out. I'll say just like that, it took about 30 minutes to get my head around it all, because I've never really used these rigs before, but now I've got my head around them, I'll be alright in the future. The alarms are on, waiting for the bites to come. And now I'm just going to turn on my little buzzer here. Wait a second, I'm holding the wrong button. There we go, that's now on. So if I get any bites, it'll start buzzing. So that's all done now. All the setup is finally complete. I can now cook my dinner. In fact, there's one more thing. I'm going to get the catapult and bait up the spots I'm casted in. And I'm just going to get a shed load of that bait out. Here we are, then I'll just literally load this thing with that. There we are, and I'll just aim for the place I'm getting out at. And boom, just like that, and bait it up a bit. Right then, I've got a lot of that out. Now it's time to cook me dinner. It's just gone 8 past, I believe. I've just put me nettle tea on there because I like nettle teas. Get my big pan on, and I'll just pop that on the stove there and turn the heat up a little bit. There we go. And then I'll just get some butter on that, and I'm going to cook myself some burgers. There we are then. We'll let them beauties cook for a little bit, and then Get that down me. The sun's setting behind me. What an absolutely beautiful sight. That's so gorgeous to look there and just see the sun setting. I might send my drone up in a little bit, get some shots. But once I've had my dinner, what I think I'm going to do is my hair rig rod, I'm going to bring that in and get it casted out into a little bit of a better location for the night. Because where I casted it, honestly, I just winged it and it went in a decent spot, but I want to get it somewhere more precise. Whack a bit of cheese on them, get them cooking, and then they're going right down me. They look beautiful, they do. Well, bit of a problem. I just realised I've just finished cooking the burgers. They're right there on this thing. One of the things is I forgot a plate, so I'm having to use a lid as a plate. Second thing, I forgot the burger buns, so I'm just going to have to eat them like that. But oh well, they'll still be good. I'll tell you what, I could get used to this. This is dead nice, this is. This bed is very comfy. The view I've got out there is beautiful. The rods are out, so I could get a carp. And I'm just camping, so this is great. So I finished my dinner about 15 minutes ago. And it was very nice. But now I'm thinking about bringing my hair rig in. I wanted to do something that I've seen online before. I don't know if it works or anything. But basically, you get a bit of floss, and you put your boilies on it, tie a knot. So that's just that there, like that. And then when I bring the hair rig in, I tie this to the hook, and I'm not sure what it does, but it's just, I don't know, it gets the baits down there with it, some more boilies, I suppose. So if that works, then that'll be great. Those are the baits I use. They smell really good, these baits do, to be honest. They smell really like fishy and stuff, but they smell nice. Here we go then, I'm just bringing in one of the hair rigs at the moment. Felt like I might have been snagged on a bit of weed or something. I'm not sure, I might have a little bream on, you never know. For some reason it feels like there's a fish on the end. I highly doubt that there is, but I'm just going to bring it in. As I prospected, there's no fish on the end. It's just my lead. The lead is very heavy. Finally, the boilie bait is ready to go back out. Look at that PVA bag I've just done. Basically, I put some dried ground bait at the bottom. And obviously I put all of the hook and stuff in there. I tied them boilies to the main line of the hair rig. So basically they're not on the hook, they're just on the hair rig. And then obviously it'll just get more bait down there. And then I've got the hemp and all of the other particle baits. So that casted out into this spot that I'm going to go to is going to be amazing. I'll tell you what, that cast I've just done was on point. It was exactly where I wanted it to go. Basically, I aimed just for over by them reeds, but not just to them. Basically, I got them about 3 metres just before them reeds, which should do me good. I've bought in the other rod as well. I've only bought it in because I'm just getting the rods prepared for night time now. Because after all, sunset is in like, well, the sun's setting right now, but sun will go down at 10 and it's just hit 9 o'clock. So I've got about an hour, but I just want to get everything baited up, ready for the evening. And the second I bought this rigging, I saw a carp jump. The first carp I've seen at this lake so far. So there's some proof that there's one in my area. Exactly the same again with the spinner rig. I've just put some ground bait at the bottom, boilies, hemp and sweet corn, and then obviously the rig itself. So I get this one casted out now. Now all that faffing around's done, I think for the last hour of daylight, I'm just going to set up my little rod down here and I'm just going to pop a method feeder on it just to see what I might whip out in the last hour of the day. This rod's now set up with a method feeder. I know I shouldn't really be fishing for big carp with a method feeder, but I've caught an almost 14 pounder on a method feeder before, so I'm sure a 20 pounder won't hurt on it, and plus it'll just fill a gap on the rod pod to make it look a lot nicer. So let's get it out. And there we go then, all 3 rods are now out on the pod and they're all casted out into different locations. The 2 rods on the outsides, the rod pod I'll leave out all night long, and the method feeder rod I'll bring in at about 11 to 12 o'clock at night. Now that all the rod setting up's done, let's roll on the session. The sun has officially set and it's now just waiting to go dark, so we've got about 30 minutes left of proper daylight. Thank God I remembered, I set up my massive net. If I forgot about that and I landed a fish in the night, I'd be screwed. But yeah, I'm just going to persevere through the night now. Fingers crossed I'll get some bites. I've got my rods into some really good locations, if I'm being honest with you, so there's a very high chance I'll get one. And if you didn't get the gist already, I'm trying to get some carp out of here. Although there is some catfish, and I wouldn't mind catching one of them. I would love to catch a catfish, even though they're the most ugliest things you'll ever see. Just, it's such a cool catch in my opinion. But for the most of it, I'm trying to get a carp, preferably a PB carp. I've got to beat 13 pounds and 13 ounce, which out this lake is not hard to do at all. While it's still light, I just thought I'd show you this new thing that I got for night fishing. I got myself a new landing mat, and it's a proper good one, to be honest. It's massive, look, it folds in half, it's got a sling and everything, and it's got a zip there for storing things, I suppose. And it's proper comfy, this thing. It's like a bed. Honestly, I would sleep on this. So I can imagine a carp would love it. Getting dark pretty quickly now. A carp's just literally jumped the second I clicked film on that clip. I just thought I'd say that. But yeah, as you can tell, sun's gone down. It's getting dark. I can barely see the water. Well, I can still see it, but in 10 minutes I doubt I will. So I'm going to turn all the lights on now. Get that one on, get that one on. And there we go, that'll give me some lighting in the night. I've shut the bivvy door now and I've put the Velcro on just to let no more wind in. So I'm going to go in here, and as you can see, it's really, really dark. So I'm just going to turn on the lights in here. get that one on, and get this one on. And what I really like about this light here is it's a magnetic one, so you can see there, it just clips on wherever you want, and then I'm just dangling my bite alarm sensor thing on there. I think just before it goes dark as well, I'm going to knock myself another tea up, just because why not? I'm just going to pop the kettle on the gas stove now, but what I really like about this gas stove is if you just turn the nozzle there to get the gas coming on, and then you just click that, and the spark will create the flame. It's pretty neat that. I've never seen that on one of these before, but yeah. Pop the kettle on that and get that boiling. I then started to receive some weird activity on both of my rods. Just had a little singular bite on the middle rod, which is the feeder rod. I'm not sure what that could be, but here we go. I've got a fish on. I've got a fish on. Fish on. Long story short, it turns out it was nothing at all, or I lost a big fish. Okay, I do not know what one on there. The middle rod had a bite, and then I went over to check out what it was, and then this rod that I've got in my hands right now started going to one side. The alarm didn't go off, but something was obviously biting at it. So I struck, and something was on, and then I just lost it. It obviously came off, so I'm a bit gutted about that, but I'll get it baited back up in the dark, and I'll get it back out. That rod's now been back out about 25 minutes maybe, and since it's been out, the middle rod with the method feeder on had one more nibble, but nothing came from it. It's currently 10:53, so it's pretty much 11 o'clock at night now. I'm going to start winding down pretty soon. I'm going to get some rest for a couple of hours and hopefully get woke up by some bites. Getting a little bit chilly outside now, so I'm going to shut the front door of the bivvy and get in my sleeping bag for a bit. That's the door all shut off now, so I'm going to go in. You can barely even see the rods on camera now. Honestly, the lighting's pretty good out here from this little light I've got, but for some reason it's not on camera. But it's pitch black, so I'm heading it. Right then, I'm going to get some sleep now. Fingers crossed to get woke up by a bite from a big fish. I'll let you know if I do that. So if I don't see you in the night, I'll see you in the morning. Okay, so there was no need to put the camera up in the night because nothing happened. Not a peep from the rods at all. It's about 7:30 right now in the morning, and it's a lovely morning actually, but I've just gone and looked to the rods and it looks like absolutely nothing's happened to them. All the lines are like string tight and everything, so yeah, I can't imagine anything happened last night on them. I mean, after all, this lake is really tough fishing. I've been told by a lot of people here that it's really tough to fish this place. That's not to say I'm not going to catch one at all though. I'd say I'm going to stay here till about noon today, so I've got some time left. For now though, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to bring the rods in, all three of them, rebait them all, get them back out into different locations, and then just sit back and relax for the day. Okay, so all three of the rods are in. Well, I've just rebaited the one of them with the spinner rig on, and I've got that back out down this little valley section of the lake. I've just changed over the boilies. I've put some of my new ones on the hair actually. They look pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one of them things I did last night. I'm going to get some of the bait floss and thread some boilies, 3 or 4 boilies, and then tie them to the lead of the hair rig. And then when it hits the water, they'll obviously come off because the knot that I do is like it's a knot that'll come undone underwater basically. I don't even know if that's effective or not, but I just like the look of it last night, so I just did it. At the end of the day, it gets more bait down there, so fingers crossed my tactic works. Right, so I've tied my little rig thing. As you can see there's loads of boilies dangling. They're basically attached to this little stringy line there. I don't know what to call it. It's like the main line of the hair maybe. But yeah, I've tied a really thin small knot. And when that hits the water, it's supposed to come undone. Obviously letting the boilies loose. And I've just put one of each boilie I own on there because why not? I'll just pop all that into a PVA bag now, pop some particle bait in there and other stuff and get it out. This'll do me. It's not the greatest PVA bag, I'll be honest, but it's got everything it needs in there. Now obviously my third rod, the middle rod, has got a method feeder on. Now honestly a method feeder for big carp isn't going to do too much, and the hook's dead small, so it's very unlikely to hook the carp in the mouth. So I think I'm going to pop a hair on that, and for that I've got these Carp hair rigs, size 8 hooks, and they'll do the trick for me. I'm just going to tie a rig for them, pop a lead on, and tie one of these bad boys on. So I've just tied on the leg clip and popped a lead on, and now all I've got to do is put the hair rig on and then I can get casted it out. And there we are, the hair rig's knocked up. And it's now got a big yellow boilie on, an 18mm one, so it's pretty big for big carp I suppose. And there we have it, more bait to throw out. An entire PVA bag full of particle boilies and my actual rig. So yeah, let's cast this one out now. And there we are, the 3 rods are back out again. The one closest to me, the one with the main hair rig on, the bigger one, is just over by them reeds over there. The middle one that I've just casted out with the hair rig on, so the second hair rig, is just ahead of my finger there, almost touching that tree. And then last but not least, the Carp limitless rod is currently down the valley there. I don't know if you can see the line, but it's just there, pretty much in the centre of the valley. In my opinion, I don't know about yours, but they're in 3 pretty good locations. And before I came as well, I read up on the pool, and it said on the pool that on the lake that I'm on, valleys in the lake. There's one right by me here, and there's one all the way down there by the main island of the pond. The lake, sorry, I keep calling it a pond. But it said in these valleys, you tend to get big catfish out of there. Obviously, you still get the occasional carp out of them, but they're known for the cats. And I wouldn't mind catching one of them. It would be a first. I've never caught whales before, so I'll be quite chuffed with anything really. But finally, all the rods are back out for the morning. morning. I refreshed their positions from last night. Got a load of fresh bait out there, and I've just been catapulting some particle bait out, so the chances are very high that I catch one. All I'm trying to do at the minute is lure the carp to my swim. But now it's breakfast time. I'm going to get the heat on in a minute. I've put the butter in the pan to start melting already because it's proper frozen from last night for some reason. It wasn't even that cold. I've got a spare burger patty that I made from last night, and then I've got scrambled eggs, so I'll get that on now. I'm just going to turn the gas on, so the gas is on. Get the little spark going. There we go. We've got flames. Now I've just got to pop the pan on and let that heat up a moment. I'll let this burger start sizzling now. Then I'll cook the eggs once the burger's done. That's almost done now. The smoke that's producing is quite crazy, to be honest. Right, the burger's now done, so I'm just going to get the eggs on real quick. They cook pretty fast, so I'm just going to get a stir on them to make them scrambled. That's more like it. They're looking really good. Coming together now. Right, that's all ready. I do wish I had a plate, to be honest, but this'll do for now. Well, I've cleared that up now, so it's time to tidy up, I guess. It's now been an hour since I finished off my breakfast and cleaned up and everything. As you can see, it's got a bit cloudy. And it started drizzling with rain a little moment ago. Not too much though, and it stopped after a minute, literally. The rods haven't seen too much action, but about 10 minutes ago, I catapulted a ton of bait in, at least 1 kg, and I got it all over the place around where I'm casted. Hopefully I'll get a surprise bite any time now. I know for this type of fishing, I should really be using a spod rod with a bait bomb. Sadly, I don't have a spod rod at the moment, and I don't have any spare rods, so I can't exactly do that. So instead, I've just been using the catapult, which is doing a decent job, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie though, even if I don't end up catching today, it has been a great session. I'm saying this and I've still got about 4 hours remaining, but I mean, just look at the view I've got from behind my peg. It's gorgeous, this bit of lake is. Such a nice peg. Just need to get a carp or a catfish on the bank now. That'll make the session 10 times better. For the last 10 minutes maybe, what I've been doing is I've been reeling in the rods and recasting them and rebaiting them and such. So far I've rebaited the 2 hair rigs, they're both out right now, and I'm just redoing the Ronnie rig at the moment. I'm popping on a fresh pop-up, and I'll show you that right now. I'm thus far in at the moment. I've just got to pop this on the bait floss I've got here, and then pop it onto the little circular thing there on the hook, and then we can get that one casted back out. I only recasted them because I felt they did need a recast, because I hadn't done it in about 2 or 3 hours and nothing had come from it, so you know, I just thought I'd put bait in, and I'm pretty sure I've got the PVA bags on point now. I know how to load them a bit, and I've been putting some of this liquid in at the moment, and it's actually like, it proper bulks up the PVA bag, and it just obviously gets a lot of scent out in the water for the carp to lure to my bait, so it's a win-win. And there we have it, just like that. That rig's back together, and that'll be ready to cast out now. Here's the PVA bag, obviously the lead's in there, got ground bait at the bottom, a load of krill boilies in, 2 big yellow boilies, and a load of particle bait at the top. I might put a little bit more particle bait in, and then I'll go in with the liquid and cast it out. The liquid is now in, so I'm just going to tie it off and get it casted. And there we have it. Again, all of the rods are out, and this time they're all out and they're done properly. All of the PVA bags, I actually know how to do them now. When I did the first one of the video, I had no clue what I was doing. I've never done a PVA bag before, but now I've got somewhat of an idea, and I've loaded them correctly, so yeah, they'll do the job. The sun's finally come out as well, so it's getting like a pretty gorgeous day now. Perfect weather for carp fishing. Well, things just definitely took a turn. It's currently boiling hot. It's about 20 degrees, and it's nearly 1 o'clock. It's 12:30 right now. Sadly, I've only got till 1:30, so technically I've got an hour left, but I've got to start packing my bivvy and everything away now, just so I can get off in time. I do have until 6 PM tonight, but I'm not going to stay until then, only because we're going out at home somewhere. But if I could, I probably would stay till 6 o'clock, because I'm enjoying today, to be honest. And the lake behind me is absolutely gorgeous. I'd love to go for a swim in it, but sadly I can't. Obviously all the 3 rods are still out, and I'm going to leave them out until last minute, because they only take 2 seconds to put away, the rods do. But for now, the bivvy has got to go away, my umbrella's got to go away, bivvy bed's got to go away, literally everything's got to go away, because that's the stuff that I'll take the time to pack away. I haven't exactly been seeing too much action on the top of the water today. I've seen 1 carp jump this morning, and that was about it. I suppose that might be a good thing in a way. It might be that the carp are all on the bottom feeding, but they're obviously not feeding on my bait. I want to get myself a spod rod really bad, because I bought this massive tub of bait and I've used over half of it. I've used loads of it, to be honest, but there's still over half left, and I reckon if I had one of them bait bomb things, I'd have used it all by now, and I may have very well caught a carp. I'm not going to bother recasting any of the rods now, because they've been in the spots they're in for about an hour, but I suppose when you're fishing for these massive carp, you've got to leave them in the spots for as long as possible, really, just to let the bait sink in, and as the carp come towards your bait, they'll see your stuff and you'll catch them. Although I'm just deciding whether to cast one of my rods into these lilies behind me here, because they do look promising. I've seen a few of them moving around, meaning there's some carp or a Wells catfish moving around in them, you never know. But yeah, I've got an hour left, so fingers crossed I'll get one very soon, and the chances are I will. While I'm packing up, I just want to show you my new tackle bag, and I think it's so cool. It looks like this. Obviously it's not zipped up or anything yet, but it's the Current Progress bag, and it's so good, to be honest. I can just store everything in it. If I open it to the bottom level, I've got my little camping stove in there, I've got some pop-ups, and then I've got some bait up braid and some barbel reel line, which this line actually is the line I'm currently using on one of my rods. I know it's barbel line and not carp line, but barbel are harder fighting than carp, so I'm sure it'll do the job. That's what it looks like spooled up. And it's actually such a nice line. It's like, it's patterned, it goes dark, it's like dark brown and goes into light brown. It's so nice. And then I just keep all of my rigs. I've got a little pack of hooks, my hair rigs. I've got some chod rigs in there as well, and then I've got my baiting needles. And then I've got all these disgorgers. I've got the lot in this bag. My bait bomb stays in there as well. And then I've got this bait bag. It's for like my pop-ups and my wafters. I haven't actually stocked any of them yet because I don't have enough. But next time I go up the tackle shop, I'm just going to buy a bunch of tubs of like wafters and stuff and pop them into these. So then I've got a little tray full of my baits. And that's just the big pouch at the bottom. I can then open the front zipper, and I've got loads of stuff in here as well. I've got a floating feeder, and then I've got about 30 different floats in there, all different sizes. And there is a grub feeder in here somewhere. There it is. And then the side pouches, I'll just keep my bite alarms and my lights in there. And then the top pouch, you unzip that one there, and you got all this in here. In this one, I'll just keep all of my little bits of tackle. I've got this little tub here full of all of this carp gear. Got another pack of hair rigs, my spinner rigs, my big head torch, PVA bags, bait floss and PVA tape, and then I've got this big bag of unprepared tiger nuts for when I want to prepare them. And then also on the bag, it's got a place to store your gas, so that is absolutely great. And it carries really nicely. It's got a little sling. You strap that over your shoulder and walk off. That's now everything out of the bivvy minus the bed, myself, and this light with my sensor attached. So I'll just take this off now. I wonder if it's still on actually, is it? It's on. It's been dangling there all night. That definitely would have woken me up if I had a bite. But let's get this thing packed away now. Okay, the bivvy is now fully packed away, but there was a slight problem when I did it. I got it packed down, but I took out the flooring, which is right there now. And I looked away for 1 second, the wind blew, and the flooring of the bivvy was halfway across the lake. So I had to bring in my rod, and I casted it out. Luckily I hooked into it and I reeled it in. But whilst I was reeling it in, exactly where I was casted out, a monster carp, I'd say he was about 25 to 30 pounds, literally jumped on top of the water. He was the biggest carp I've ever seen. But it's just so typical it happened then. But I've got that rod casted back out. I did it like at rapid speed, and fingers crossed I'll get that carp that jumped. It's quite sad because I've only got 5 minutes left, like 5 minutes on the dot pretty much. That's until I've got to bring my rods in anyway. So in the next 5 minutes, if I could get a bite and pull this catching a carp thing off, that would be a miracle. Just as I say that, another one's just jumped there. I don't know if you can see the ripples behind the lilies, but they're getting quite active now, and that's because of the weather. It's absolutely stunning out. Everything's now hauled from down there up to the top bank, so I can whack it in the trolley and take it to the car easier. So I think it's time I'll bring some of the rods in now. I'm going to start from the right, and then I'll bring this one in last, because I think this one's more likely to catch out of them all. Here we go then. I'm just going to start reeling this one in. The leads on these things are actually so heavy, it's quite unbelievable, but I'm sure there's heavier ones out there. That one came in nicely, and the baits is still on, so nothing's took it. Now it's about time I get this middle rod in. Nothing's come from this one today, except last night it had a couple of nibbles. That's the only action I've seen though, apart from that one that I had hooked and lost. I was gutted about that, because it felt like a big one and he just came off right away, so yeah. I had some action last night, but nothing too major. But this is now in. Right, my stuff's on its way down to the car now. I've just got the bed here to pack away, and that's about it. And I've left one of the rods in, free lining it, so if I get a bite I've got to act fast on it. But I doubt I'll get one now. I've only got like 2-3 minutes maximum. But yeah, that was my first time like night fishing by myself pretty much. I did really enjoy it, to be honest. It was a nice day out, a nice evening and day out I suppose. It was a good time, just no fish were caught. That's partially because at this lake, it's like massive. I think it's like 12 acres altogether. And down the one end, the wind's currently blowing all the way down there, so the fish are more prone to being down that way. But like within the last day or two, the wind's like switched up, and the wind's all blowing up my end of the pool now. So like later on in the evening, there'll be some carp and catfish up my end, and like definitely by the end of the week there'll be loads up here. But I won't be here then, sadly. I'm definitely coming back to this place though. Probably on a different peg, the peg that I came in the last video I did here. I really like that one, so I'll try and book that one for next time. It's meant to be a good peg for night fishing. But yeah, it was a good time. Sadly, I've got to put the camera down now and go and put some stuff in the car and get home. If I end up getting a carp in the next 3 minutes while the camera's off, obviously I'll show you, of course, but I doubt I will. But with that all said, my night fishing session is completely over now, sadly. As I say, I'll be coming back here pretty soon though. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below, and whilst you're down there, make sure to subscribe to my channel. It helps out a lot and gets my videos out there to more more wider audience. Turn on the post notifications once you subscribe so you never miss another upload. I try to get 2 uploads out a week if you're new here. Become a member, the link for that's down below. You'll get early access to videos, exclusive videos. I haven't done any exclusive videos yet for you members watching. That's only because I haven't got enough members to do an exclusive video. It'd take a lot of time and effort to get a video in it and get like 10 views from the members. So once I've got a decent chunk of members, I'll do them and they'll be good videos. So if you want to see them, definitely become a member down below. It helps out my channel and it'll help me do better videos like these ones. So yeah, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, become a member if you'd like, and that's it for now. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.